Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Keep in mind that they're provoking me and saying racist things to me while they're trying to do things to cause me to have cognitive impairment and various pains. It is a continual racist harassment I face all the time, and their goal is to try to put racist people above me in my mind. Okay, other people, what have you, with an emphasis on whites, Jews, and LGBT people. Some of them, sometimes to their extreme disgrace, try to say things like, well, don't respond to them. Okay, you have to realize that it's stupid as hell for me not to respond to them. That's like if there was a slave master whipping you, okay, would you say, or whipping a black person in the middle of the street, would you say, hey, don't fight back? It's stupid. If you saw two Nazis beating up a big Jew who could easily beat them both up at the same time, and they're kicking the shit out of him, he's not fighting back, would you encourage him to not fight back? So the racist, pitiful Jewish person who would encourage that person to fight back, but not me, is a dumb fuck with poor genes and a despicable spirit. I'm sure we can all agree 1 + 1 = 2. It's obvious. So when the top martial artist ever possible, who obviously is going to be black, right? Anyone who's seen the Black Panther movie knows that. They don't believe that Chadwick Boseman was a great fighter or something, but they do believe that the idea that it's superimposed on is far superior to the martial arts of other groups. No offense to anyone. I have to clarify these things to help make my argument here in this video, so on and so forth. Okay. So when we look at the screen, right, a lot of what's going on has to do with the LGBT community. I've said many times to form an LGBT committee so we can talk about these things with people who understand that I have a right to defend myself and have a right to fire back and insult any group that is insulting me, especially when no members of their group are on my side. Okay, they're just pretending to be at some time, at some points, if that. They rejected that, and they want to set the stage for them to insult me, the most righteous person that ever lived and ever possibly will live, due to tech, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gains ruling other people out in the future. It's a divine verdict, and everyone knows it. Okay, they want to set the stage for them to be able to abuse me without me responding. I am not a Christian. I feel a lot of anger in my heart when I think about the word Christian or Muslim or Jew, because they're cheating me like more than anyone else, damn near, if not that. And they've made their religions in a way to cheat me out of my right to lead. Any religion that is made to confuse that I'm the most righteous person ever lived is garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. And it's sad that I have to say things like this to help you people understand. Say if you're a Jew and you see a Jewish person you really respect, and he's the most, if in an alternate reality he was the most righteous person that ever lived, and you see people making their religions to cheat him out of his right to lead, wouldn't you be angry? If you were that person, would you be angry? Would you respect those religions? It's sad that you people are so damn petty, so damn racist, that you need to hear it that way, and you still don't understand that you're inferior to me. How could you be equal to somebody who isn't racist, who is far more righteous than you, who's the top martial artist ever? You're not! And I don't exactly go around sticking up my nose at you people, but you stick up your noses at me. And how we get to this conversation is after a lot of racist provocation. And as I'm trying to say things, I fire back really quickly, and I'm like, shut up or whatever, and I fire back in whatever way that's clear. You keep going until I get angry enough to make this video, or to make a video. So let's look at their ways, shall we? What are part of the fruits of their tree of ethnocentrism, their tree of cheating the most righteous person ever possible, trying to look good? Their tree of white privilege, Jewish privilege, LGBT privilege on steroids. What is it? Well, when we look at erotic desire, sex, my goodness, is there anything less appealing to a righteous person than that? Than being like a perverted teenager, okay, and looking at females as sex objects, doing nasty sexual activities, being extremely sexually immoral. Their activities are so disgusting. You have to ask yourself, should a righteous person even be talking about it? That's how bad it is. It's nothing to be proud of whatsoever. If I had a child or children, I'd have to ask myself, should I explain what not to do to these children? Because their acts are so disgusting. And then when we see these people like Ron Jeremy, right, and various porn stars of every race, I'm not racist, as we see these people, okay, we see how they dress, how they move, how they think. You've seen porn I have when I was younger. I don't watch it anymore when I was younger. You see disgusting, disgusting things. You see the red light district. You see the proof in their cultures. Every culture that is outside the divine order is not just wrong, but they're reproducing in ways and having sex in ways that are disgusting. Now, some of you say, man, he had to take it there. First of all, you're all doing nothing out of selfishness. As the top martial arts ever possible, as God's sons being persecuted. You took it to the worst place possible by your actions, by your cowardice, by your greed, by your selfishness, by your scatterbrained thinking, by your unfocused thinking, by your recklessness, your senseless behavior, by your depraved behavior, by your debauchery, your moral decadence, your extreme, ignoble, and immoral behavior. Your vile acts against God and humanity. You took it there. In the midst of you people doing all these horrible, horrible, terrible, terrible things, disgusting, monstrous things, how could you then turn around and say, why would you say our cultures are bad? You make Sodom and Gomorrah seem like paradise. You people do vile and evil things. So as you look at this thing, right, these LGBT people who have kids going through sex changes behind their parents' back, okay, who would have thought that's a bad idea? Who would have thought that maybe the right wing, full of white supremacist scum, would use that to say, hey, don't give the poor person a fair shake? But you did it anyway. Just like it's very obvious that it's a bad idea to persecute me. So as you see these people on the screen, I see a blonde female who otherwise would be pretty attractive. I'm not racist, She has some pretty attractive features, but she has this evil look on her face that's been cultivated from evil activities for generations. But really, with an emphasis on her generation. Because in your life, you strive with all your heart to be good. It's going to reflect in your face in the absence of technology changing your face like they have to mine to some degree, but you can still tell. If you were to talk to me, you would quickly say that I'm the righteous person and that they did it to me and that you would believe me. In her case, in that point in her life at least, she agreed, as the evidence suggests at least, to present herself as an evil, erotic desire person. I don't want to insult this person too much. I don't want to break the rules on YouTube, okay? But she agreed, no offense to her, to present herself as something that is similar to how a devil female in a cartoon would be presented. The titties showing, what have you. The posture, what have you. Kind of like a witch, a Satanist, what have you. And you see in the picture I chose these plus-size gentlemen who aren't in very good shape. I don't know their issue, but they remind me of the countless perverted and overweight Americans whose brain is wired and fixated on erotic desire. There's one person in my culture. It's me. I'm the top martial artist ever possible. I was in the best shape of anyone that's ever lived. Most handsome, most righteous. There are countless people in the erotic desire cultures. And boy, do the vast majority of them clearly prove my point. The fruit of erotic desire is disgusting. It's ugly Ron Jeremy faces as he's dying of all kinds of health problems. It's STDs that were gotten for, the wrong reasons. They weren't, targeted for STDs. They went around sleeping with people and they got a bunch of disgusting STDs. It's drug addiction. It's all kinds of disgusting stuff that we see in various compartments or various subcultures of the greater erotic desire culture. Even Eros is depicted like a little kid. It's childish. Babylon, baby, line. It's childish. It's disgusting. And I have people saying to me horrible things. They think they want me to be something I would never be, and that's gay, in order to get females. They want me to be, a damn gay erotic desire person. And they say then women would change their view about you. Very sickening. After years of being catfished on the internet, trying to find love, all the gay harassment, to this day, they are still trying to make me something I would never be, and that's gay or bisexual. You see what I'm saying? They are clearly in the wrong. For those of you who might be mad at me, do you want to debate me publicly about this? I'll debate you in San Francisco in the streets about this, where most people are more likely to see it your way. But they know what you're doing in terms of infringing on my rights is disgusting. It's human trafficking life garbage. It is sick, sick, sick. Shame on you people. Shame on your families. Shame, shame, shame. Let God see your shame. Shame on the churches for sitting there trying to use this to try to put themselves above me, to try to look better than I do. When I'm God's son, shame on you. Shame on your churches. Shame on the Catholics, the Protestants, Orthodox, you name it. Shame, shame, shame. I rebuke your churches. In God's name, I rebuke your churches, your mosques, your synagogues for your disgusting inaction. Shame on you. Now, if you don't see by this picture the first time, remember, they're probably going to edit my picture to try to make it so I look less appealing. And they're going to try to make these people who were chosen specifically because they're obviously unappealing. Except for maybe the blonde chick, but she has that erotic desire way that a romantic person would not marry her. Again, I'm not saying she's a hoe, but it reminds me, for whatever reason, of the saying that you can't make a hoe a housewife. Okay? If you can't make a hoe a housewife, and Marshall is marital scrambled, and I Christ and the bridegroom, Psalm 45, the most excellent of men, the mighty warrior, the most mighty warrior, the mighty one. What is the difference between erotic desire and truly making love while living a morally precise life? So it is disgusting for them to try to pretend that their mere erotic desire relationships, okay, are magically preferred to truly making love with the most profound and potent passion in the divine order. After years of people in this very country, females in this very country, who may very well be more decent than the other females, depending on who, what, when, where, how, why, saying that guys are just fucking them, that they just want, that they're just using them for sex, that they're objectifying them. Eventually, that type of talk stopped as they were terrorized by organized rapists. That includes people in the LGBT community. Some of these people very friendly, very likable, okay? Terrorized by organized rapists, by corporate terrorist organizations. What I would say to the president, while you're naming terrorist organizations who, to some degree I agree with you, yeah, those groups to some degree terrorize people. I don't think that there's any terrorist organization that I've come across Trump saying is a terrorist organization that I disagree with. But also the American government is a terrorist organization. The political parties are terrorist organizations. The major corporations are terrorist organizations. If you ask the average American who they're afraid of, they're not afraid of ISIS blowing them up. They're not afraid of Hamas. It could be a Jewish person in the most Muslim part of America. They're not afraid of Hamas to any significant degree. They're afraid of the United States government. They're afraid of black ops that are fuming and poisoning people. They're afraid of the real reasons why people's health is so bad. They're afraid of the American government and the governing class. Those are the people terrorizing them, and those are the people who are sexually controlling them. And quite often, from what my research suggests, the evidence is pretty abundant. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that quite often, far more than people admit, we see them being directly told who to date and who to have sex with. And that is disgusting. Now, at this point, I would like to point out, at this point I feel a little bit bad. Not because I did anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I did not do anything wrong. I do not like having to chastise people. But if you understand the things that I'm saying, you see that it has to be done. I've said this before in my videos, probably at least 20, 30, 40, 50 videos. I would rather be on the beach with a beautiful woman somewhere, cuddling, or in a log cabin, cuddling under a blanket, by a fire drinking hot cocoa. That's the type of person I am. I'm a very loving, very sensitive person. I don't want to have to chastise people. I don't want to have to point out that their groups are failing. I don't want to have to chastise culture. There's people who are nice, and like every culture you can think of, there's Satanists who have treated me with a certain degree of politeness. Okay? And it's sad. There's people who are self-proclaimed racists who have treated me with a certain degree of politeness. But you see what's going on here. I'm being persecuted for doing the right thing while people suffer. And there's other things going on too. And for whatever reason, the government is allowing it to persist, the governing class. The community won't stand with me. They're terrorized. You have a terrorist problem here in America. And it's not me when I get angry when I'm off the camera saying what I should do to a bunch of scum who are persecuting me. It is the groups that I named before. They are terrorizing Americans. They live in terror. There are countless terrorist threats made all the time that are more potent than the threats of the people who are locked up for terrorist threats in America right now. I go as far as to say that they're more potent than all the terrorists, all the people who are arrested and in prison and doing time, or in jail and doing time for terrorist threats in America put together, the threats that are taking place that are not being addressed. America is a terrorized nation, just like the other nations on this planet. I'm not saying America is the only terrorized nation, but America is a terrorized nation. And we need to stop worrying about, and I don't worry about the image of this country. I've been very blunt and frank. Okay, people need to stop worrying about the image of America, and they start worrying about treating Americans fairly.